Okay, everybody, here we go. It's me, Gregory Mannarino, Thursday, April 25th, 2024. Post market wrap up. I mean, what a day. Today's economic news was, it really sent the market into a tailspin on the back of a profound sell off in the debt market, which seemed to turn around. Did you notice that? The Dow Jones Industrial Average was down 700 points earlier, turned around all of a sudden, down only about 375. That's the index that everybody watches anyway. But of course, that's not the real story. That's where they want you to look. Everybody, look, the mainstream media, they have an agenda here. But it seems like most YouTubers who claim to be market experts, they're telling you to look in the wrong spot too. It's the debt market. The debt market is a driver. You all know that. The stock market in aggregate is a derivative, meaning it derives value from what's happening in the debt market. And if this continues without direct intervention, let me tell you something, as plain as I possibly can. It's just freaking over. You're right, Billy. 375 is not bad at all. Dropping 375 for the Dow is about 1%. The cavalry did kind of step in here, but what is preventing this market from dropping 1, 2, 3, 4,000 points? It is the prospect that possibly central banks are going to start following the lead of the Swiss National Bank in cutting rates. Now, the ECB, the European Central Bank, has promised to do so come June. But, today, you got to, there's all this back and forth talk about in the face of this, I'm going to get another number tomorrow. Today's inflation number really took people by, not me and you. We expect to see this. But if you're watching Bloomberg, CNBC, Fox Business, the commentators, they don't know what to do with themselves. They literally sit there with their mouths hanging open, like, what's going on here? Oh, we got to talk more about that. They don't get it. They can't grasp the concept, I suppose, that first of all, this GDP number that they floated out today, Jeffrey knows what I'm talking about. Thank you. Yeah, it really was looking rough earlier today. But this GDP number, a huge miss. And that's, again, strip out spending on war alone, and we are in the negative. Okay. Right, Robert? Robert knows what I'm talking about as well. Anyway, look. So if you look at, I've been telling people for years that as a percentage of GDP, the economy of the world is we've never seen it free fall as fast as we have now. But now we have another metric. Look at their numbers with regard to inflation, 3.84% or something along those lines. And now we have a GDP number, their number, 1.6. We are contracting there as well. This whole thing, the economy, it's in free fall around the world. And this is going to get monumentally worse. It's by design. And we have more to talk about that. I'm going to prove that to you yet again. But again, you want to laugh. If you're flipping through the mainstream media, what are they doing? The same tactic as they always do. Look at Trump's trial. Look at Taylor Swift as she's talking about how productive she is. Do you really give a damn? Let's be honest, okay? The woman's a billionaire, okay? Do you give a damn about how productive Taylor Swift is? No. She has obviously a huge fan base. And I'm not calling her out here because I know some of you are going to take issue with what I'm saying. All I'm trying to enlighten you about is it's a deception. It's a distraction. Look here. Look at Trump's trial. Look at Taylor Swift. She's so productive and she's so damn proud of it. Miss knows what I'm talking about. She's talking about. This is what they do. Forget the inflation numbers. Don't concentrate on that. Forget about the GDP numbers. Don't worry about that either. Focus on the Trump trial. Focus on Taylor Swift, and you're going to be pacified. That's what they're doing. They're treating us like infantile entities. Do you realize that? But you see, you and me are not infantile entities. You and I are focused on what's going on. We realize who our enemy is. We know what they want, and we know what they're trying to do. We are going to be propagandized more so than ever in history. I told you this at the end of last year and the year before that. Look for more propaganda, more deceptions, more distractions. And well, they got two of the greatest things in the world. People glued to the Trump trial and Taylor Swift. It's astonishing to me how Taylor Swift shows up on CNBC. She shows up on Bloomberg. She shows up on Fox Business. Look at her. Look at her. Yeah, she's very productive. She's a multi-billionaire. Oh, she's very productive. I bet the woman doesn't even write her own music. But I don't know that. Okay, for you Taylor Swift fans out here, I could certainly be wrong. But all I am pointing out is this is a distraction. Anyway, look, with regard to this market here, you know what? Let's start off with that. And you know what I'm going to do? For those of you people out here, and there are some who say Greg is a doom and Greg is a gloom, I'm going to give you some really good news. Are you ready for this? You're going to be shocked, but this is probably the best piece of news you're going to hear, I don't know, maybe for the next month. Janet Yellen is confident that U.S. inflation will continue to cool. Now, notice the wording here, continue to cool. Today's inflation number came in way worse than expected. It's not cooling at all. It continues to rise. But Janet Yellen is confident. Now, she's also the same person that told us this was transitory and it was temporary. Does this make you feel good? Because let me tell you what the message is to me. Inflation is going to continue to skyrocket. Do you trust Janet? Honestly, people, I want to hear from you. Yes or no? Do you trust anything that comes out of its mouth? It's pie hole here. You trust this person here? She's lied to you repeatedly. She will not stopping. She will lie to you continually and repeatedly. Period. And where's the accountability? Nowhere. But focus on the Trump trial and focus on Taylor Swift because she's very productive. Make it up. At least I gave you some good news because I'm sure this made you feel really, really, really good. Right? Okay. So with that, then we get this here, same day. Inflation may not fall for months. How about it's not going to fall at all as the mechanism to allow central banks to continue to inflate is kicking into high gear as we are seeing war expand every single day, more funding for war, propagation of a war, and this creates the greatest need for borrowed dollars in history. Why do you think? You think it's a coincidence here that the Federal Reserve is tapering down its repo program right now? You know, it's moving vast amounts of cash back and forth between institutions. I've been telling you this for years. You think it's a coincidence even for a second that this is tapering down? The second time we're seeing war expand, there is no coincidence here. And inflation has gotten nowhere to go but worse. Does that sound familiar to you? Yeah, because I've been telling you that. You and I have been discussing this. Yes, it's sticky. The words that they use makes me want to puke. It really, really does. Now, I want to talk about a few other things too here, people. Let's do this first. You and I, again, because we're smart, because we understand the way the markets work. Let me tell you something. All right. And I'm just going to tell you straight out. If you are a follower of this blog, very few people on this earth understand how markets work better than you do. Okay. That's a fact. And now with that, you and I, we're not fixated on the major averages or the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Again, we're looking at the debt market. Now, the debt market is a time bomb. Mitch knows what I'm talking about. It's ticking louder and louder and louder. And the issue here is an eventual meltdown in the debt market. This has been set up. We are all being set up right now by runaway central banks colluding with our representatives to allow the central banks to inflate, create slaves to the system. Hold that thought. We got some serious information. We're going to talk about that. And I'm not just talking about individual slaves. I'm talking about states, cities, municipalities, the entire nation, the entire world, slaves to the system. And hold that thought. Anyway, look, I want to talk about something. This morning in the video I told you, I did a little bit of math. I'm actually not too bad at math, believe it or not. And I was calculating, this is the MMRI at the end of the day today. We were at 311 earlier today. Now, I said, when we were at 311, the Dow was down 700 points. Now, I did a little math this morning with regard to the MMRI. It looks to me like, at least at this point, that 311.7. So let's keep our eyes on this. Again, people, this is free to you, the MMRI. Link in the description of this video. Start looking at this even just once a day to give yourself an idea or a perspective on where this is going. Because if this continues, let me tell you how this is going to end really, really badly. But again, this came down earlier. Someone's buying it after. But if we see this worsen, hold that thought, because now I'm going to read this to you. It was leading to this. And this is in your inbox if you subscribe to my free newsletter. Stocks drop, extreme risk. Read this title. Lions and friends, the debt market is flashing more than a warning sign this morning. This was earlier. As I am writing this, all the major stock market averages are lower. And I put an image, blah, blah, blah. I try to make this as easy as I can for all of you. Okay, again, this is free. I do this because I feel it's important. Okay, bonds are selling off, which has pushed the 10-year yield higher. Earlier today was much higher than the market closed, and the MMRI was also higher. I go on to say, if risk continues to rise, I would expect, and you know exactly what I'm going to say, at least I hope you do, I would expect to see the stock market continue to fall under pressure, which could potentially be very substantial. Now, again, look, this is no surprise, no shock to anybody. You and I, again, we're watching the debt market. We realize it's a time bomb. It's going to sell off one time, and it could be absolutely out of control. Let me add another caveat to this. I believe this, the market is anticipating rate cuts. If this doesn't happen, if the market doesn't get what it wants, the market's going to throw a tantrum. And that means you're going to see a precipitous drop in the stock market as the debt market sells off. Period. If, in fact, let's go a step further. Let's say Greg is completely wrong, which is actually possible, people. Look, I don't know everything. I'm just telling you my best take on what's going on. If, in fact, the Fed reverses this, because with this abysmal inflation number today, we get another bad one, followed by the Fed could absolutely, and some of you believe this is going to happen. Maybe you're right. The Fed is going to hike rate. You're going to see the stock market get cut in half. Now, with that said, with regard to where risk is right now, looking at the MMRI, look at the 10-year yield here specifically, I wouldn't blame a single one of you, not one, not even half of one, okay, to get out of this market right now. I've done several videos about this, okay? People keep asking me, Greg, is now the time? Is now the time? People, I tell you right now, if you were to get out of this market today, yesterday, day before, tomorrow, I wouldn't blame you at all, okay? Lock up whatever profit you have, because if you've been with me, you've been in the positions I told you, you made money. There is no way you haven't made money in this market, okay? We've been long this market since Donald Trump took office the first time. We made a lot of money, okay? And in these new positions that are paying us dividends, you could choose to sell those too. I like the dividend. I like the cash flow there, but I wouldn't blame you if you sold those either, okay? Just understand what you're looking at. Realize the situation that we are in. It is a dire. Now, we were talking about slaves to the system. This is CNBC headline from today. Many large U.S. cities are in deep financial trouble. Most U.S. cities are underwater. Okay, they're running massive debts and massive deficits. And this is a strong economy, right? Because that's what we're being told. The economy is really, really strong. It's so strong that the GDP is 1.6%, but if you strip out war spending, we're in the negative. And if you weigh that against their numbers with regard to inflation, we are contracting rapidly. But you see, they think you're too stupid to know that. But I happen to know that you're very smart. Let me explain to you something about this. Okay, like I said, municipalities, cities, entire states, this entire nation, we're broke. Okay. Individual citizens, debt slaves. This is the mechanism here of the debt-based system that we have. Who's your enemy? Who's your enemy? It certainly ain't me, and it certainly isn't each other here, people. It is these freaking central banks and it's our loving, caring representatives who are forcing us to live under this unconstitutional system. This is not a constitutional system that we have. You realize that? But we have to live by it because they get to dictate our lives to us. And right now, no other institutions on this planet are stronger than central banks. You do realize that, right? And they're getting stronger every day as they're called on to issue more debt, as they're buying back treasuries here. This buyback program that they haven't used in 20 years. This is a last resort effort. But what this is doing is making the Fed, in this case, stronger every single day. Because you know what I'm going to tell you. The Federal Reserve, they could talk about tools and every freaking thing else. They have one tool. The Federal Reserve can manipulate debt. That's all they do. And debt is their one and only product. If you sold, I'm going to go back to my chapsticks. If this was your product that you sold to the world, you had a corner on the market with regard to chapsticks, this natural ice one, okay? The more of these you sold, the better off you're going to be because this is your product. The same thing with the central bank or the Federal Reserve in this case. The more debt they get to issue because it's their one and only product, the stronger they become, not weaker. And you wait to see what happens when the next freak gets behind the resolute desk. I don't care who it is. They're going to allow the Fed to inflate even more, and we lose. You do understand that, right? People, I'm telling you, man. I'm laughing. Stock up on necessities, okay? Be ready for anything. Never let your guard down. Always have the high ground. You understand? Because if you're not ready for what they are setting up right now, you have a very small chance of survival, and I mean that in the literal sense here. They are going to force upon us a resource scarcity problem on a scale that people are not going to believe. Okay, they're going to blame it on the war. It's all being set up. You think this war is going to end anytime soon? No, it's going to expand more and more and engulf other countries around the world. This is just the beginning. We're in World War III, in case you don't know. Economic warfare and hot wars. Yes, the United States as well. Just look, follow the plan financially that we always talk about here. Okay, betting against the debt, becoming your own central bank. You want to get out of this market? Do it. But don't be sitting there in fiat currency. Convert that into hard assets here, obviously. Don't keep a single dollar in the system, in their system that you don't need. Obviously, we are forced to use their system to transact. Okay. You can't transact in anything else. They don't want you holding gold or silver or cryptocurrencies. No. None of our loving, caring representatives. No. They want you in their system. They want you in the Federal Reserve System. It's not our system. This is an unconstitutional system. You do realize that, right? Okay. For my lawyers out here, tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. I invite any one of you to a debate. This is an unconstitutional system, and we are forced to live in it. You understand what I'm talking about? Anyway. Now, with regard to everything else, what do I leave you off with every Friday? Love each other, care about each other, be charitable. I don't say these things because I think it's fun. I say these things because I believe in my heart that that's the truth. I also believe that we can make a difference in the world. One person can. I always tell you this a million times. If we get this kind of information out, we let people hear this stuff, maybe we could flip some more people around because I'm telling you, people, we are being led to the slaughter. I don't know another way to put it. We're being led to the slaughter. But if you can't see this, all the stuff that we talk about every day, then you are completely lost. Tell me where I got a single thing wrong, please. I'm not too old. I'm an old guy. You all know that. Okay. But I am not too old to learn a new trick. Mitch, anybody here, tell me where I got this something wrong. Greg, you're wrong here. And then outline. I'm willing to learn. Tell me what I got wrong here. Somebody. All right, people, look, I think we're gonna end this here. And move forward in this whole thing. I don't know what else there really is to talk about, and I'm not gonna take any questions here today. Because I just honestly, people, I love all of you, but this stuff gets to me big time. And I know you all get it. So maybe we'll do some questions tomorrow. And I apologize for not taking any questions today. Right, I was gonna do it, but I just really I'm at my end with this. I got a headache and I'm freaking sweating. My blood pressure is probably in the freaking moon. With that said, people, look, I do want to hear from you. As I said, please comment on these things. Again, tell me where I got it right. Tell me where I got it wrong. Are we on the same page or not? Please share this stuff. Get it out there. Those thumbs up. Thank you. 603 thumbs up. People, I can't thank you enough for that. We got to get this stuff out there. And these thumbs up are so valuable. The algorithms pick it up, shows the video. We really got to let people in on this. This is not a secret. All this is hidden in plain sight. Everything is hidden in plain sight. Anyway, all right, people, look, I'll see you in the morning, okay? Until that time, take care of yourselves and take care of each other, right? I love all of you from the heart, and I mean that. I'll see you later.